time ever the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series cars are set to compete. But it has been a week filled with sadness, as 2 days ago, 27-year-old Clifford Allison lost his life in a practice accident. The mood is understandably solemn as we now go trackside to today's Grand Marshal, Benny Parsons.
Ladies and gentlemen, ESPN, Michigan International Speedway, and Detroit Gasket would like to dedicate this race today to the memory of Clifford Allison. And I know that the Allison family realizes all of us today are thinking about them. You know, the sweetest sound that a racing car driver hears is the command to start him up and the sound of a racing engine. So why don't y'all stand up and help me get these guys started today. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Shauna and gentlemen, start your engines.
All cars in the field today are wearing number 9 in memory of Clifford Allison, the number that he wore in Busch Grand National competition. This is a tough time for the people in the sport of auto racing, but all of these drivers know the risk when they strap themselves inside of a race car. I talked to Bobby Allison last night at his home in Hueytown, Alabama, and he and his wife Judy, the mother of Clifford Allison, wanted us to pass along their thanks to all of the prayers, the best wishes, and the phone calls that they have received during this period of mourning for the family.
Ned, we at ESPN would like to add our condolences and deepest sympathies to the Allison family as they attempt to deal with this devastating loss. But Clifford would want him to go on, and indeed 34 Grand National drivers will put aside their pain and prepare for 200 miles of exciting speedway action coming your way next from Michigan. February 15th, Daytona Beach, Florida. The 1992 Busch Grand National season opener heated up in a hurry as this multi-car crash on lap 70 saw front row starter Joe Nemechek's Chevrolet totally engulfed in flames. Many believed his promising season and career had disappeared behind this cloud of fire extinguisher chemicals. But a mother's worst nightmare turned into her wildest dreams because emerging from that fireball came one competitive ball of fire. Lakeland, Florida, Joe Nemechek reeled off 13 top 10 finishes, a pole, and collected his first career victory 3 weeks ago at Indianapolis Raceway Park en route to assuming the Busch Grand National Series point lead. Today, Nemechek hopes the celebrations will continue as he assaults the high banks of Michigan International Speedway. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. We welcome you live to the beautiful Irish Hills of Michigan, side of Michigan International Speedway, and seen in today's NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Detroit Gasket 200. Hello everyone, I'm Jerry Punch along with two-time NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett. And you may find it hard to believe, but in its 11 years of existence, some 320 events, the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series has never competed here at Michigan International Speedway. That is until today. And Ned, in 10 speedway races thus far in 1992, the Busch regulars have held their own. They've won 7 times, but today might be a little bit different.
Well, it could be a little bit different, Jerry, but I'll tell you, I think the Busch drivers will certainly be competitive here today. They're there. They have the equipment now that they need to run with the Winston Cup drivers, and they've learned a lot about drafting and all of that kind of thing. But if there is one advantage that the Winston Cup drivers would have on this 2-mile track would be drafting, and it certainly comes into play. You know, a lot of these Busch drivers have never seen this track before they came here this week, excepting on television. But remember Darlington when Robert Presley passed Harry Gant, the master of that racetrack? Of course, Jeff Gordon has a couple super speedway wins, and so do several other drivers, so I think they'll be right there.
Well, Ned, the debate continues. Will the Busch Series drivers hold their own? Let's check in and get an opinion from our John Kernan on pit road.
Well, Jerry, Jeff Gordon has already shown in qualifying that he can more than hold his own. Back on Thursday, he won the pole 0.3 of a second faster than his closest competitor. But you know, Michigan International Speedway has a way of reaching up and biting the inexperienced driver. Well, Jeff says he knows that. He knows that he can't push the car too hard or he'll wind up in the wall. But then again, he can't take it too easy because there are a bunch of guys starting behind him who will just love to have the opportunity to charge their way to the front. And for more on a couple of those hard chargers, let's go up pit road to Benny Parsons.
John, we got to go back to row 11. That's where the second and third fastest cars in the field are located. They qualified on the second day, so they have to start 21st and 22nd. That's Ernie Irvin and Morgan Shepherd. Folks, I'm telling you, they're going to work their way through the field. They're going to get to Jeff Gordon, and they're going to teach this young man a thing or two about race car driving today.
Well, as Jeff Gordon will get set to learn a little lesson about drafting on the high banks, we get set for Busch Grand National Series racing action coming your way from the high banks of Michigan International Speedway. We'll be back with the starting lineup and the green flag after this. This is stop number 22 in the 31 race, $5 million NASCAR Busch Grand National Tour for 1992. Our Speed World coverage of this inaugural Busch Grand National event at Michigan International Speedway is being brought to you by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. By Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Let's take a look at our Sears Die-Hard starting lineup. The field 34 strong, and once again for the 8th time this year, 21-year-old Jeff Gordon will lead the charge in the Baby Ruth-sponsored Ford. Alongside him, the 35-year veteran Jimmy Spencer out of Berwick, Pennsylvania, in an Oldsmobile. Back to row 2, Winston Cup regular Hut Strickland, and Busch Series regular, already a winner this year, Warren Burton in the car number 27. Back in the field, row 3, a couple of Winston Cup veterans, Harry Gann and Dale Jarrett, both winners in Busch Series competition. Back to row 4, more Winston Cup regulars, Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt. Row 5, former series champion Kenny Wallace and Busch Grand National North Series champion of a year ago, Ricky Craven. Ken Schrader and Todd Bodine fill up row 6. Back to row 7, Michael Waltrip. And there's our point leader, Joe Nemechek, starting in 14th spot. And then as you look at the rest of our starting lineup, 34 strong, some pretty good horses, including Robert Presley, back in the pack.
Yeah, the current Busch Grand National champion, Bobby Labonte back there, Darrell Walterman. There's Ernie Irvin and Morgan Shepherd. Morgan Shepherd he was disqualified from the time that he turned on Thursday because of a fuel situation. They had run a different kind of fuel in Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago, and apparently didn't get all drained from his fuel cell, and so it just didn't mix with the Unocal fuel they had here, and so he was moved back.
Let's take a look at this lovely facility here, the Roger Penske facility. It's a 2-mile D-shaped oval. The pole speed, a record because they've never been here before. It's 173.135 miles per hour, 41.59 seconds, 100 laps, field separation 8.8 miles per hour. There's the D-shaped oval. The pit road, highlighted there at the very midpoint of the tribal area. The banking, all the turns are symmetrical, 18 degrees. First, second, third, and fourth corners. The front stretch is banked 12 degrees, and the back straightaway is 5 degrees. There's that front row. The young man you heard John Turner talking about, Jeff Gordon, already a 2-time winner this year. Impressive win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. In that Ford Thunderbird, the Bill Davis-owned Baby Ruth Ford. Alongside him, the veteran of Winston Cup and now Busch Series competition, Jimmy Spencer out of Berwick, Pennsylvania. They call him Mr. Excitement, and believe me, folks, if you ever watched him race, you know why he got the name. Pontiac safety car is pulled away. We get set for green flag racing action from Michigan International Speedway. Glad to have you with us on a beautiful afternoon here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Strickland in the car number 92, the Stanley Tools machine, takes the spot on the inside in turn 3. So Strickland rides second, but the battle now is back for 4th spot.
Bill Elliott trying to take over that 4th spot, but couldn't quite make the pass.
And here's the cars Benny Parsons talked about, the car number 4, Ernie Irvin, and the 21 of Morgan Shepherd, as Shepherd now makes a move on the inside of the 17 car. That is Darrell Waltrip. They are back in 19th and 20th position as they begin to wind their way to the front. There's Morgan Shepherd.
Now what he needs to do, Jerry, is get right up on the back bumper of Ernie Irvin if he possibly can. Irvin is slicing through that traffic pretty good, but they could set up a drafting duo which would help them to come through the traffic. Kodak
calls on the front of Irvin Chevrolet Lumina. Right in front of them, the car number 15 is Ken Schrader. That's the black car. You see now Shepard beginning to make a move on the inside. Ernie Irvin moves to the inside of Ken Schrader down in turn 1. Irvin on the bottom of the racetrack, then hugging that bottom groove. But there is Shepard now to the inside of Shauna Robinson.
Yeah, his car got a little loose as he went into that turn, but he corrected it right quick. That was Morgan Shepard. But moved to the inside of Shauna Robinson. Shauna Robinson Pearson.
Fifth female driver to compete in NASCAR competition. Now Morgan Shepard has gone by. They are all chasing this man right here, Jeff Gordon. You will see he's got about a 6-car length separation between him and Hut Strickland. Then comes Jimmy Spencer, and here is Bill Elliott taking the spot away from Harry Gant.
Yeah, he just moved around coming off of turn 4. So that Ford is pretty strong. We got a smoker here, Jeff Burton in car number 8.
Tough break for the Phil Martossion machine, the TIC Financial Systems efforts. A lot of smoke coming out of that car. He apparently has shut it off as the car now pulls out on the apron. No caution flag as yet. There is Jeff Burton driving the car number 8. 25-year-old South Boston, Virginia native. Back up front, Jeff Gordon. Remember, he'll be going to Winston Cup next year to run for Rookie of the Year, and Elliott is on a tear, Ned.
Yes, he is, moving his Budweiser Ford down on the inside of Jimmy Spencer, taking over the 3rd position. That's the car out of the Harry Melling shops in Dawsonville, Georgia. Elliott still has ties there. Of course, he drove for that organization, Winston Cup Racing, for many, many years. And now they maintain this B6 Busch Grand National car for him. Got her working well today.
Indeed, his best finish of the year, a 4th at Dover, Delaware, on the 1 mile at Dover. So they certainly have put the B6 program together. Got to give a call to the folks there in the shop. And here's Ernie Irvin. Last super speedway event at Talladega, it was all Ernie Irvin starting back in the pack. Irvin came to the front in a hurry, which is what he's doing today. Now being shown in 10th spot as he tries to move on the bottom side of Michael Waltrip in that Pennzoil-sponsored Pontiac. Here's Morgan Shepard. Remember, he started back in 22nd position.
He's had a little tougher time getting through the traffic than did Irvin. He has Kenny Schrader, the blue car down on the inside, number 15. That's helping him as they move around Kenny Wallace in the Dirt Devil Chevrolet. But Shepard just didn't get through the traffic quite as good as Irvin did, but he's still, nevertheless, coming through there pretty good.
There's Ernie Irvin currently being shown in 10th position as he tries to move in now on Michael Waltrip. In front of Waltrip, the 34 car is Todd Bodine, and in front of him, the Interstate car, that is Dale Jarrett. Now Waltrip and Ernie Irvin then will try to make it a 2-car draft.
Yep, they're setting up a 2-car draft coming right on the inside of Todd Bodine. Now, most of the time, the second groove here works a little bit better, Jerry, going into the turns because you keep the momentum going, keep the RPMs of the engine up, and that's what happened right there. Now, here's Elliott. Boy, he continues to move up, and he's moved up on the car number 92 of Hut Strickland, the Stanley Tools car.
And you see Todd Bodine now beginning to use the draft to pull back even with Ernie Irvin, but Ernie will have the short way around on the inside. If he can keep that car glued to the bottom of the racetrack, he will be able to pull up in front of the Hungry Jack sponsored car of Todd Bodine. That's Dale Jarrett, the green and black car in front, the Interstate Batteries machine. Then comes Michael Waltrip, Ernie Irvin, Todd Bodine, and the car behind him, that is Morgan Shepard. Back up front, they are chasing 21-year-old Pittsboro, Indiana driver Jeff Gordon. And the battle looks to be for second spot as Bill Elliott, who has yet to win in Busch Series competition, makes the move on the inside. It makes it look easy.
Yes, he does. That Ford is really hooked up today, Jerry. It has good straightaway speed, and it's working well in the turns. As we see, Hutton try to come back up there, but he says maybe that won't be the smart thing to do because you don't want to run too long side by side around this racetrack.
We are in the early laps here of this Busch Grand National Series Detroit Gasket 200. Back with more live green flag action after this. Stay with us. Michigan International Speedway, lap 10 being shown on the board of 100, which will comprise this 200-mile event. Well, there's your leader, Hut Strickland, in the car number 92, the Stanley Tools sponsored machine. And we'll show you what happened as we went to break just moments ago. Bill Elliott on the bottom of the racetrack, Ned, was able to make the move.
Well, he moved on the inside of Jeff Gordon, who had led since the green flag drop. But we see Hut Strickland coming up on the outside there. Then he all of a sudden decides maybe to follow Elliott through to make the pass on Jeff Gordon. And he pushes Elliott through. Gordon backs off, and then let's watch what happens after that. Here is Strickland coming down on the inside of Bill Elliott, and he touches him just a little bit, gets Elliott sideways, and Strickland just turns left. Elliott trying to correct his car up there, and two other cars go by, including Jimmy Spencer in car number 20.
And an outstanding job by Elliott to save that car. You got to realize, folks, he was over 170 miles an hour. This is the third fastest track that the NASCAR teams go to behind Daytona and Talladega. So at over 170 miles an hour, an outstanding effort just to keep the car going straight ahead.
Yes, it was an outstanding effort. And Bill Elliott knew that he didn't want to. Here's Morgan Shepherd, who made a gallop run up through the pack. Jerry coming into the pit. Looks like he's going behind the wall, so the sit go forward is going to be out of it.
Oh, what a tough break for Morgan Shepherd. He takes the car behind the wall. Their own in-house engine program just coming together, but it all goes away in the early laps of Michigan. Let's check in with some other unscheduled stops with Benny Parsons.
Well, Jerry, the 75 car's in the pits now. He was in just a moment ago that said the car is so loose, he thought he had a right rear tire flat. They took the right side tires off. He did not have a flat, so evidently there's something inside under the car that's broken that's causing the car to be extremely loose. Also, Jeff Burt was in. He went behind the wall. He called in on the radio, said the engine was vibrating badly like a broken crankshaft or connecting rod, something internally in it. He's out for the day. And these guys still, they turned the car off. I guess they found the problem, but they still, it's going to be a long time trying to fix the problems on Butch Miller's Cruise Country Oldsmobile.
Well, Benny, a lot been happening down on my end of pit road. Morgan Shepherd just pulled it behind the wall, went up and asked the crew. They said, well, motor is broken. It's as simple as that. Tracy Leslie has been on pit road. He's having a major handling problem. They made a major chassis adjustment on the left rear of that car. And also talking with some of the other crew chiefs down, Jeff Purvis, who's going in for Davey Allison, a bad push in the middle of the turn, while Darrell Waltrip has radioed in and says his car is very loose. Remember, the guys, the 2 days of practice they've had under cloudy skies, it's now sunny, so the track has changed.
Well, it's actually it's almost on fire if you're Ernie Irvan. You talked about a ball of fire at the head of the show with Joe Nemechek. Ernie Irvan is coming in a hurry. We had a 5-car battle there, second through sixth place then, and now they filed out single file into turn 3.
And Ernie Irvan has come all the way from 21st position up there to battle the lead pack, now trying to move inside of Jimmy Spencer to take over the third position. So the Kodak Film Chevrolet of Ernie Irvan is really working. Gets around Spencer now, sets his sights on Harry Gann in the car number 7, who is running in second place.
They were a little bit concerned that this car would actually work. This is the car they rebuilt after that devastating early lap crash at Atlanta, as now Irvan goes beneath Harry Gann's Max Tool Chevrolet. Aaron Chevrolet Luminous battling door to door, and Aaron chasing the Chevrolet up front with Hut Strickland.
So those cars run side by side. Now Gann is going to beat Irvan into the turn, but watch Irvan go down to the low side of the racetrack, where he's been doing it every time. Harry sort of covered that position that time, but now he slips up a little bit, and here comes Irvan. That's where he's making up his time, coming off the turn, and he slips up in front of Harry Gann, takes over position.
Here's a 3-car pack back in the pack. Dale Earnhardt's Goodwrench Chevrolet leads Michael Waltrip, and the 29 car, the Purex detergent-sponsored machine. That's the Oldsmobile of Phil Parsons. Good run for Phil Parsons here early on. They are 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah, he started 15th, Phil Parsons did, and now working his way up to 9th. Looking to head further up through the field. Phil has not run in any of these Busch Grand National races. His own car, works on it himself, and they take the measure of Dale Earnhardt, or Michael Waltrip tries to, and Phil Parsons got to try to push him right on around as they go into turn 3. But Michael has to back off down on the low side of the track. Now Phil says, well, maybe I need to be up here on this second group.
You're right, Ned. Only Phil's 5th start of the 1992 season. Had some pretty good finishes. 10th at Atlanta, 10th at Charlotte. Had a good run going at Darlington. Carrying the new Purex colors here at Michigan. Now, let's see if Phil Parsons can make it on the inside. It looks like Michael Waltrip and Earnhardt have the draft. Now, we'll see if Ernie Irvan, as he closes in on the car number 92. That's Irvan in the car number 4. Hut Strickland, the 92. The battle for the lead down that back straightaway.
And doing it without a drafting partner. He just gets down on the inside. That car really comes up off the turn, gets good traction coming off the turn. You can see Kentucky pull back even with him in the center of the turn. Ooh, they almost touch. Ernie almost lost the car. Got a little bit loose coming off the turn. So he'll have to try him again now going into turn 1.
And that gave Harry Gann an advantage to be able to close in a little bit. It could be a 3-car battle as Gann decides.
Ooh, somebody's smoke coming from Ernie Irvan's car as it went into the turn. A lot of smoke. from Ernie Irvin's car. Apparently the engine has gone on it. Boy, Harry Gant had to get out of it in a hurry. He was right on Irvin's back bumper and said this could have been trouble. The caution is out.
And what a break. What an unfortunate break for Ernie Irvin. The last time he ran this car in Atlanta, he was involved in a 9-car crash in the early laps. Now, after moving all the way to second spot, the engine lets go. And yes, they are despondent in the Irvin pit, and rightfully so. But what a gallant effort he made. It was exciting while he was there. Let's go down to John Kernan.
Jerry, first they thought that, yes, he did, in fact, blow the engine. Right now, they're going to have him try and make it around back to pit road. They think maybe just an oil line popped off. We are under caution. They can get that fixed and no damage to the engine. Well, who knows? They may be able to still be in contention.
Yeah, John, that car does look like the engine is running, so it could be that an oil line or maybe an oil filter or something of that nature. So he came around at a pretty good speed.
And Jay Smith, the crew chief on that Ernie Irvin Kodak Chevrolet, will be there to attend that car. The Carl Wegner V6 engine, and there's Jay and the crew. They will raise the hood. Let's check in with John.
Ernie has shut the engine off. Tony Glover, and who works on Ernie's Winston Cup team, also sticking his head in there, looking around, checking around the oil lines. Can't see yet if they have found it, but they do have a big wrench out now. They are tightening one of the fittings, and also coming back to get another wrench out of the toolbox to check another fitting. So possibly they may not be done for the day, guys. We'll just have to wait and see if they can get this problem fixed.
And Jerry, you wonder if Harry Gant will have to come in and get his windshield cleaned, because he was right on his bumper when we saw all that smoke coming out. Now, whether there was any oil in it or not, don't know.
We'll check in on the Ed Whitaker pits and see what Gant's strategy will be as we are in the early laps here at Michigan International Speedway. Caution number 1 coming out for Ernie Irvin, apparently showing a lot of smoke. And as you heard, they have refired the car down there, and you see the Kodak crew, Tony Glover and some of the Winston Cup crew, Johnny Townsend and them standing there. As the pits are now open, they're waving the green flag, signifying that they will be allowed to pit if you would like. 19 laps in the books. As you see, Ernie Irvin's Kodak Chevrolet headed down pit road. And Ned, most of these cars will be able to make it at least to the halfway point on fuel, but a few now will peel off and head down pit road. Among those, Dale Jarrett as he comes down pit road, and Kenny Schrader in his Chevrolet.
Yeah, I think Jarrett's car was getting very loose. He had dropped back several positions. Kenny Schrader apparently not happy with his car the way it was handling, so they'll come in and make some adjustments on it.
Ricky Craven in the car number 99 down pit road, Shona Robinson. You see pit road now getting busy. These cars really have nothing to lose. If they're back toward the back of the pack, they can come in and make a pit stop. And you see John Irvin and the crew now working on the Interstate Battery Chevrolet of Dale Jarrett.
First time they've run since in a Busch Grand National race since the race at Charlotte back in May.
We're in the early laps here at Michigan International Speedway, working the first caution flag of the day due to a lot of smoke and possibly some oil from the Ernie Irvin car. Back with more High Bank Racing after this. Stay with us. International Speedway, the Detroit Gasket 200. Early caution flag here for some smoke from the Ernie Irvin car, who again has been on pit road once again. Let's check in with John.
Well, Jerry, fortunately for the team, they have not lost a lap. They've been in here a couple of times. They just checked the breather. They also checked up underneath to see if there might be a leak coming out from underneath the oil pan. But they cannot find a leak right now. You can see the oil on the inside of the frame where it is sprayed out from somewhere, but they still cannot find the leak. And they're awaiting Ernie's arrival on pit road. Maybe we can get a further update once he does get in here.
And he's coming back to you right now, John. The Kodak crew once again taking a look and trying to. We don't see any smoke out of the car, but maybe it was an oil line or just a couple are coming loose there, Ned, and spread a little oil out. But they will come across the wall once again and take a look at the front of that car.
Well, it happened pretty quickly. You know, if it was a valve cover gasket leaking or something like that, you wouldn't see it as dramatic as it was when he went into that turn. In fact, it looked like that he just blown the engine, but obviously that was not the case because it's still running and apparently running okay. But something happened that it just started smoking very severely. And the field is coming out of turn 4 now. They have the hood up. They've almost gone a lap down twice while they were in there. Of course, they have somebody watching to be sure they know where the pace car is. They put the hood down once again, so they'll send him back out.
Well, there are still 20 cars in the lead lap, and he's going to have to hustle as they get the hood down. And you see the pace car on the left of your screen. That's the Pontiac Grand Prix. They will have one lap to go when they hit the line, so we'll take this break and come back with more green flag racing action from Michigan International Speedway. After this, stay with us. We're back at Michigan, getting set for more exciting Busch Series action. What may have been a misfortunate problem for Ernie Elliott, he did stay on the lead lap, could be a fortunate one for the viewers at home. You get to see Ernie Elliott do it, Ernie Irvin, I should say, do it all over again. We're talking about Bill Elliott a moment ago having his troubles, but Ernie Irvin, last car on the lead lap, see if he can come to the front once again as they scatter out now 3 and 4 wide for the green flag, restarting here on lap number 23.
Well, they were 4 wide there for just a moment. They were told in the driver's meeting that they could pass on the inside on restarts, and Phil Parsons got himself a very good start on that restart. And is up there battling for the second position.
Good. Field comes rumbling by. We'll see if we can pick up Ernie Irvin in that Kodak car back in the 29th position. There's Ernie running right beside Jeff Purvis, who is subbing for Davey Allison. Back up front, Hut Strickland has pulled to about a 12-car length separation, and they come run at our speed shot. Over 180 miles an hour as they come right at you. Phil Parsons now falling back in line. Good run for Phil Parsons as he's chasing now Bill Elliott and Harry Gant in turn 1.
And Bill needed to get back in line there, and he knew it. His spotter told him, okay, you got an opening, but he's not content sitting back there. And here's Kenny Wallace. Apparently something wrong with the Dirt Devil Chevrolet, car number 36. Boy, he's had a tough year this year.
Certainly his Chevrolet Lumina slowing. It could be a blow to his point standings championship hope. 1 win this season coming up at Martinsville Speedway, Clay Earl's facility. He was back in 5th spot in the point standings. This will hurt him if they can't finish today, but he's slowing on the track. Meanwhile, Hut Strickland leads the charge. Gant, Elliott. And here comes a move on the inside by our pole sitter, Jeff Gordon.
See Michael Waltrip's car dancing around back there in the air. He don't know which one to follow. Now he decides to go the high route and follow Phil Parsons. It's tough down on the inside, especially after the tires get heated up. And here's Bill Elliott doing okay down there for the moment. But as those cars, Harry Gant on the outside and the Mac Cooley's car number 7, Bill Elliott, the Budweiser Ford. Earnhardt looks like he's pushing Gant. Now he decides maybe I ought to go with Elliott. But as they go, here comes Earnhardt down on the inside. But while they were running side by side, that just let Hut Strickland go that much farther away.
3 wide, coming out of turn 4 and making 4 wide as Michael Waltrip goes to the apron of the racetrack. And what a move by the Pennzoil Pontiac. He probably scared a few folks behind him and maybe even himself, but he made the move work as he pulls up behind Dale Earnhardt, headed for turn 1.
But he has to feel so good when he came out in front. He just has to look up in his rearview mirror with a big grin on his face. Now you see Jeff Gordon sort of dart in up towards Phil Parsons. Michael goes all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. He got a good run. He picked up the draft off those 3 cars and just shot right by them.
Outstanding move by Michael Waltrip. That's the kind of moves he made all day long at Talladega to come home in 2nd spot for that Pennzoil sponsored machine. Now he finds himself back in 4th position.
And here's the current winner, Busch Grand National champion, the Slim Jim car of Bobby Labonte in the pit.
Bobby Labonte making his 100th career start. Over 53% of his starts have been top 10 finishes. An impressive record for that young man who will possibly be going to Winston Cup next year. Here are 2 Winston Cup veterans. You see them battle every Sunday afternoon on ESPN. The 11, the Budweiser car of Bill Elliott, and the 92, that's the Mac Martin-owned Stanley Tool Chevrolet of Hut Strickland.
So Bill made a good, solid, clean pass, and they didn't touch that time. And now has taken the lead. He took the lead once before, but he and Hut Strickland got together just a little bit. Just barely touched him, and that sent Bill into a little bit of a slide and put him back in the field. But now he's worked his way back up there, flexing the muscles, and Ernie Irvin has taken the Kodak Film Chevrolet to the garage area. Apparently they could not find that smoke problem, so he's out of the race.
In 7 starts this year, Bill Elliott has only led 5 laps. The car has just not been that competitive. It's been competitive, but not as well as they'd like to be. But today, he's shown at the front of the field. Where's our pole sitter? Jeff Gordon, maybe Ruth for Thunderbird, as they are 3 abreast back there, and Bill Parsons continues to make the moves in the backstretch. Doesn't have a lot of horsepower, but he drives it deep in the corner, it seems like, and holds on for that draft.
Boy, he does. And see how far back Jeff Gordon has gotten back in that traffic, Jerry? When he was out front, he was good, but he might be a little bit loose now. He has gotten in that traffic. Here is Harry Gant and Michael Waltrip running side by side with those 2 yellow cars.
We're going to show you battles all over the track, folks. Michigan International Speedway, we talked about how competitive it's always been for the Winston Cup ranks. How about the Busch Series? And boy, they're showing they should have been here a long time ago with this kind of racing action as Elliott leads him down the backstretch.
I couldn't wait for this race to happen, Harry. I knew that it was going to be. We see these Busch cars are so competitive everywhere they go, but then to get on a good wide track like this where drafting is such a key factor and see them jockeying around, they can run 3 and 4 wide as we've already seen. I knew it would be a great show.
And then even the Winston Cup competitors in the garage yard said, we don't want to miss this one. If we're not going to be racing, we want to watch it. This one should be a dandy. And indeed it is.
Here's Todd Bodine down on the inside of Jeff Gordon. The Hungry Jack entry of Todd Bodine, but had to back off going into the turn.
Todd Bodine, already a winner once this year of Nazareth, Pennsylvania, picked up a pole at Dover. That's a car number 34. The Frank Cece and Scott Welliver-owned machine. In front of them is Ward Burton in the car number 27, so it's Burton. Then comes Gordon, then Bodine. 7th, 8th, and 9th position. 3 Busch Series regulars. 3 of the superstars of tomorrow battling out of turn 4. 18 degrees of banking as they come at you. This 2-mile D-shaped triangle.
Gordon got a good run off of turn 4, but he couldn't make it stick. That outside groove is the place to be right now. Here's a pass for 3rd position, or about to be one. Dale Earnhardt holds on to that position. Harry again trying to take it away.
Dale Earnhardt holding off the 3rd spot. That's Harry Gant. The back tools, Ed Whitaker on the machine, not Harry Gant's car. It's owned by Leo Jackson. It's the Busch Series car. It's owned by Bristol, Tennessee's Ed Whitaker.
Boy, 3 cars were 3 abreast going into the turn, but they singled out. But Jeff Gordon's the man that came out ahead. Todd Bodine and the Gordon Burton car number 27 went into that turn. You see Dale Jarrett coming into the picture, Jerry. He was 18th after he made a pit stop. Apparently that car working a little bit better. Of course, he has the advantage of having 2 fresh tires on it as well.
And Jarrett now trying to get into the top 10. He's riding the draft of Phil Parsons, who is the 10th place car. But now Phil sees Jarrett back there and makes the move inside to try to take the 9th spot away.
Bill's car looks like it's getting a little bit loose now. I tell you, he has abused those tires quite a bit coming up through there, because you said earlier, he really has driven that car hard into the turns. Now Jerry's trying to move on the inside of him as they go into turn 3.
If you were to give medals for effort here in the first 32 laps, you'd have to give one to Phil Parsons in the Purex Oldsmobile, as he is passed now by Dale Jarrett, but Parsons hangs on, and right behind him, here comes Ken Schrader and Joe Nemechek, our point leader. Dale Jarrett looks to the inside of Todd Bodine.
Evidently, John Irvin made an adjustment on that car, plus the fact that they did put on 2 right-side tires, and new tires on any racetrack helps, but they help as much on this racetrack as any other. Jarrett gets a little bit loose there on the inside of Todd Bodine. Bodine hanging on tight there.
Dale Jarrett has only started 5 Busch Series events this year. His best finish a 4th at Bristol, Tennessee, back on April the 4th. Great racing all over this 2-mile speedway. 2-mile facility. Michigan International Speedway battling now in the top 10. Ward Burton, the car number 27. Todd Bodine, the Hungry Jack car. Back up front, it's Bill Elliott leading a 4-car draft. Elliott, Hut Strickland. Then comes Earnhardt and Harry Gant. Exciting Busch Series racing action to come your way. Don't go away. More to come after this. Around the world, around the year, ESPN Speed World brings you over 1 million miles of award-winning coverage. Today, we're in the Irish Hills of Brooklyn, Michigan. 2-mile Michigan International Speedway. And we're under caution for the 2nd time today.
And it's because of Smoker, another one, and this time it's Robert Presley having troubles with the Alliance Trucking Oldsmobile. And Jerry, we might see pit stops here, I don't know. But 3 of the guys that are in the top 5 in the point standings having problems here. Robert Presley gone on 5 cylinders. Kenny Wallace, we've already seen him in the pits with trouble. And also the car number 44 of Bobby Labonte. Now let's go to the pits and Benny Parsons. Benny, will they make pit stops?
I believe so, Ned. I'm in Bill Elliott's pit, the Budweiser pit, and they're getting ready like they're coming in. I don't know if they're trying to fake out the other crew members or what, but I think they are coming in to make a pit stop. They got to stop sooner or later, because these cars are not going to run 200 miles on 1 tank of fuel, and I guess it's feeding time at the zoo, right? I can't see the entrance to pit road, but from what I hear, they're all coming in. And I am in the Elliott pit. They're getting ready. The NASCAR rule today, you can change 2 tires per caution flag, so they'll only be able to change 2 tires. He's 2 pits away. The crew goes over. He's handed a cold drink. Fuel is going in. Car going up. Now they're scraping the rubber off the nose of the car so that the air will get in through the radiator and cool the thing. Right side is done. The car cars down, the way he goes. And meanwhile, behind him, Dale Earnhardt stalls the engine on the Goodrich Chevrolet. They push him off. He gets it started the way he goes. And meanwhile, it looks like everybody's going back out. There goes Phil Farson, Michael Waltrip, Kenny Schrader, Shauna Robinson, Tom Peck, Joe Nemechek, Tommy Houston, Chuck Bound, Darrell Waltrip, Ricky Craven, Dave Resendez. Here comes Jeff Purvis. Lord, did they all pit in?
Just about all of them, I believe, Benny, that were in the lead lap came in.
Almost everyone but the safety car with Omo Langley aboard, and he'll pit next time by. Lap 37, but you know, you got to believe that even with the V6 engine, these are 274 cubic inch V6s, Ned, and they will not be able to make it the rest of the way. They have to go, what, 63 laps, and that's a lot of miles.
Well, it is. It'd be 126 miles, and I think that would be stretching it.
It could be awfully close. We may see some gambles coming up, and maybe a win picked up by one of those gambles. We're under caution for the second time a day. Back with more Busch Series action from Michigan after this. That great schedule, live competition tomorrow. The Champion Spark Plug 400. That's Dale Jarrett. Remember that exciting finish a year ago? Ned will never forget it. Of course, Dale Jarrett being able to beat Davey Allison by a scant 8 inches. That's live coverage at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time from right here at Michigan International Speedway. Under caution, Dale Jarrett had a great pit stop as being shown in third spot. And when we went to break a minute ago, Bill Elliott was being shown as a leader by virtue of the pit stops. But that has been reversed. You see now Harry Gant is being shown up front. Why? Well, we're going to show you why. Watch the action on pit road.
Okay, we see the work going on, and there comes Bill Elliott out of the pits in the red car, and here comes Harry Gant in the yellow car. And they meet right there on pit road. There's Dale Jarrett in the green car behind him, but as they come across that line right there, Gant had just a few inches on Elliott, and the NASCAR official saw that and said, okay, Gant's the leader. And
that official standing just to the right of the Harry Gant car made the call, so certainly Gant is being shown as the leader. Well, a fellow who was second in the point standings may lose some ground today. He's with Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I'm down with Robert Presley, as you said, was second in the Busch Grand National point standings, and it's not good. You're standing here with me.
Yeah, it's not. You know, the Lights Tractor Trailer Training Center Oldsmobile was running great. And right before that caution, I called in and told Ricky, you know, I was smelling a little bit of oil in the car there. And whenever we went back green, things started messing going down the straightaway. So we're getting a little bit of blow by somewhere. So they're going to look at it and see if we can't go back and run a couple more laps or something anyway.
Maybe you are going to run a couple more laps.
Yeah, we're wanting to, you know, try to keep up in these points here. You know, we're getting down to showtime now.
Okay, John Turner, what's happening on your end of pit road?
Bobby Labonte has just returned to action after replacing a distributor. Kenny Wallace, Benny, they think they may have broken the crank. They have parked it for the day, and the reason Ernie Irvin decided to park his car, it began blowing out oil once again, so rather than damage the engine further, they decided to take it back to the garage area.
Well, guys, 3 of the top 5 in the point standings having trouble already. Robert Presley just talked a minute ago. The Alliance Training Center's Oldsmobile, he is behind the wall. Bobby Labonte has had his problems, and Kenny Wallace may have parked it. The troubles up front in the Busch Series points. We're getting set for green flag racing action. Coming back at you, lap 41 of 100 in this 200-mile event.
Harry Gant gets a good jump here on Bill Elliott as the green flag waves. Side by side between Jeff Gordon and Michael Waltrip for the 4th place going into turn 1. Young Gordon, Baby Ruth Ford down on the inside of Michael Waltrip and Jerry. When they run side by side, that lets those 3 cars up front pull away. Now Earnhardt picked up the draft up there on the outside. 3 abreast here as Jimmy Spencer, Mr. Excitement, lives up to his name.
And Jimmy, the pavement's where you need to stay, my friend. Almost on the grass coming out of turn 2. And here's Dale Jarrett taking a page out of the Spencer book as he makes a move to the inside of Elliott and Harry Gant. Remember that tire change? You talked about John Irvin making a chassis adjustment on the Interstate Batteries car. Door to door as they head to the tribal area.
Well, Jerry, when he came in during the other caution, he put on right side tires. This time he took on left side tires, and that might be the tip. He goes down on the inside once again, moves up beside of Elliott, but still can't quite do it.
Remember the finish a year ago in the Winston Cup race? Dale Jarrett was right where he is right now on the inside, down the backstretch, up Davey Allison. He was able to make it stick for an 8-inch victory. Right now they are still door to door. But we're in the early laps. It's not the final lap. We are yet to reach the halfway point. Watch Earnhardt. There's the Goodrich Chevrolet. Great camera shot there behind the Pennzoil Pontiac of Michael Waltrip.
And look at him shuffle here now is Harry Gant trying to move on the inside of Bill Elliott. Michael Waltrip is right there. Gant caught down on the inside with no one to draft with, though. Jeff Gordon sticking the nose of the Thunderbird in there. They're going to go 3 abreast off this turn. Yeah, they don't mind doing that. Here they come. Again, down on the inside, Michael Waltrip in the middle. Jeff Gordon on the outside now. They get down to 2 abreast. There, he just got caught down there with no one to draft with, and he's just going backwards as the train goes by on the outside.
And that 29 car, Phil Parsons, the Purex sponsor car, still hanging in there. 3 abreast, nope, not quite. Can't close the door on Hut Strickland. So the Pennzoil car, Michael Waltrip, then comes Phil Parsons, Todd Bodine. Harry Gann is there in the car number 7. And behind him, Hut Strickland, the early leader. Obviously, tires making a big difference here as Dale Jarrett able to keep his car out on the inside. He is the leader. The challenge now is Phil Parsons in the Oldsmobile, car number 29, and Michael Waltrip
battling for 5th. And here's Earnhardt moving around Bill Elliott. Just drove deep into that turn, went down on the inside of Elliott. Elliott went high, had no choice but to let Earnhardt go. So you see those 2 Fords battling side by side there for the 3rd position.
Dale Earnhardt trying to change his luck. He said this race car right here has not finished a race on the super speedways this year. We got a challenge for 3rd spot. Jeff Gordon of Harold Ford's, the car number 1. The Baby Ruth colors on the inside of Bill Elliott's Budweiser, Ford Thunderbird. It's Jarrett the leader. Earnhardt in 2nd spot. Elliott holds on the 3rd, and Gordon falls back in single file for 4th. Battle back here now for 7th, 8th, 9th. Looks like Hut Strickland will make a move.
Yeah, Harry Gann trying to make a move back up through the front after losing back from that inside groove a little while ago, but now he has Strickland down there with him, so they might be able to team up together, Jerry, and pick off a few positions.
Racetrack, the front trial will bank 12 degrees, 100 feet wide. That's why you see this 3 and 4 abreast racing. Some of the most exciting competition anywhere that NASCAR goes, right here at MIS. Whoa, Hut Strickland almost catches the rear of the Pennzoil car. You have to jump in the binders, the brakes.
That could have been big trouble. Dale Earnhardt trying to make a move going into turn 3 on the inside of Jarrett. He picked up a draft with Bill Elliott going down the backstretch and just shot him right into that turn, and Earnhardt drove deep in there. Here comes Jeff Gordon. Watch the car number 1 as he passes Elliott going into the turn. And Phil Parsons down on the inside.
Great move by Earnhardt. So it is Earnhardt, Jarrett, Gordon, then comes Elliott and Parsons. That's the top 5.
Jerry, while we're watching this battle for the lead, we should make mention of the fact that Richard Lassiter led some laps during that caution period. Then he made a pit stop, so he's back in the pack now, but he has been one of the leaders. 46 laps complete, 4 laps away from the halfway point. Got to give a call, Ned, to Phil Parsons. For someone who has run a limited schedule, I mean just 5 events in 1992, he is holding his own in his own operation there at car number 29. Crew Chief Doug Taylor, and the engine is a Carl Wegner motor. He is certainly having a heck of an afternoon. He really is. He has the car set up well. He's driving it well. The fact that he hasn't run many races has not taken any edge off. He's doing a great job.
And he's doing it once again, this time on the inside of Bill Elliott. Battling for 4th spot in turn 1. Parsons, the Purex Oldsmobile. The Budweiser T-Bird of Elliott and Parsons will take the spot away.
There's Todd Bodine in the other red car, trying to move on the inside of Bill Elliott as they get in line up the backstretch. And here comes Todd Bodine trying to move around Bill Elliott. Bill's car apparently is not working as well as it did a little bit earlier. They're able to get under it coming off the turn. There's Hut Strickland now coming back into the picture.
See Elliott's car bobble a little bit in turn 3 and 4. Looks like it's a little bit loose.
Evidently, the new right side tires they put on just didn't match up too well with the left sides that they already had on the Jerry. And yeah, it does look a little loose.
Unbelievable competition here as we approach the halfway point. Watch Dale Jarrett, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
I'll be surprised if he can pull this off. He might be able to if he gets some help from Jeff Gordon, but Gordon's going with Earnhardt, and the yellow flag is out. Lonnie Rush has crashed in car number 90.
His first Speedway start, 26-year-old Lonnie Rush Jr. at Pontiac Grand Prix, and he has had heavy contact racing back to the caution flag. You saw Dale Earnhardt waving to Dale Jarrett, and likewise back in the field that there's a caution flag out as the Pontiac safety car will pull up on the field. Unfortunately, it looked like we were able to see Lonnie Rush moving around inside the car after that heavy impact with the retaining wall. Caution flag for the 3rd time today here. The field now moves in behind the safety car. And there's the Pontiac Grand Prix for Lonnie Rush Jr.
Now, Jerry, they can make pit stops now and fill up the fuel and can go the rest of the distance. We were wondering if they'd be able to go from that last caution. Now they should have no problem whatsoever if they choose to make pit stops, and I expect they will.
Work continuing on the Lonnie Rush car. Lonnie Rush, mentioned 26 years of age, ran 4 races in the Busch Series in 91. He ran 1 North race and 1 South race in 92. His best finish, a 3rd at Jennerstown, Pennsylvania, back a couple of months ago in June.
Earnhardt playing with the pace car again, as they've seen him do a lot of times in the past. But I expect he'll come in and take on 11 on left side tires. The pits are closed right now, but he has that green flag. The official has the green flag in his right hand, and I expect when we see them come off the turn 4, yep, he takes down the closed sign and waves the green flag, so it is open. I think we'll see him come in. All of them will take on left side tires, except Dale Jarrett. He'll take on right side tires.
It'll be 50 laps complete this time. As you see, Dale Earnhardt leads the parade down pit road at the halfway point. Dale Jarrett will be making his way into the pits where Benny Parsons is standing by.
Well, John Irvin and the crew are waiting on him, and there goes the pace car by, leading the cars down pit road. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett slowly coming down. We see Dale Earnhardt on the top, the 18 on the bottom. Dale Jarrett comes in the pit, stops the car. John Irvin goes back to the left rear and is taking another round of wedge out of the car. That's about 3 rounds of wedge he's taken out of the car. Right side's on Dale Jarrett's car, left side on the 3 car. Jarrett gets the car, he almost stalls, he leaves, but there goes Earnhardt, and Elliott beats him out. Dale Jarrett, then Harry Gant, and Phil Parsons, Todd Bodine. Man, this is exciting stuff.
Pit stops, the order of the day here at the halfway point. We're under caution for the 3rd time today due to an accident involving a car over in turns 1 and 2. Back with more exciting green flag racing action after this. We welcome you back to Michigan International Speedway. Start of today's NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Detroit Gasket 200. John Kernan, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, and yours truly, Jerry Punch, bringing you exciting speed roll racing action. Our coverage today being brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. And by Stanley. Since 1843, Stanley has been helping people do things right. Working the 3rd caution flag of the day, due to an incident over in turns 1 and 2 for Lonnie Rush Jr. Car number 90, 26-year-old driver, making his first speedway start in Busch Series competition.
Jerry, the leader of this race now is Tim Thedua from Hope, Michigan, who did not make a pit stop. He was in the lead lap. He's been running up there pretty well with them, but he is now the leader as a result of not making a pit stop.
And here's a car that's been absolutely coming in a hurry, driving the wheels off. Benny Parsons, I got to be excited in the pits.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, Jerry, because check this out. I knew things was going too good. These are the tires off Jimmy Spencer's first aid automobile, and this is a blister tire. The compound may be just a little too soft. This is a right rear tire, so maybe Spencer getting the car a little bit too loose, getting it sideways some, causes this problem. And you know, they're putting on new tires, sticker tires. If they put on scuffs, it might help the problem just a little bit. If he makes another pit stop, I would imagine that's what they'll do, is try to put some scuff tires on rather than the stickers. And try to help the blister problem. You know, it was going good down here, and all of a sudden this thing's got to pop up here.
Ah, well, at least he got a little bit of a break, as we'll possibly this caution flag coming out. It could have been a lot worse had they stayed under green with those tires blistering like that on the Jimmy Spencer car. Back with more Busch Series action from Michigan after this. Don't go away. Gasket 200 Busch Series event at Michigan International Speedway. Under caution for the 3rd time today, our AutoZone race summary. As of the halfway point, Dale Earnhardt was the leader and led just 5 of 50 laps. There were 9 leaders, 8 different changes, and the average speed a little over 132.9 miles per hour. Lap leaders, there they are, latest of which was Dale Earnhardt, assuming the lead from Dale Jarrett. Our out of race, Jeff Burton, Morgan Shepherd, Ernie Irvin, Kenny Wallace, Robert Presley, and the reason for this caution flag, Lonnie Rush Jr. Let's check in the pits with John Kernan.
Well, we're with DK Ulrich, who is the crew chief for Tim Thedua. And DK, you guys now have assumed the lead, and I understand you're going to try and go the rest of the way on gas.
Well, I think we can do that. This is the V6 motor. We should get 57 laps on our fuel. We need to go about 63, but with this caution, I think we'll make it okay. We're going to be close, but it'll be fun to watch.
He's a fine young driver, a good talent that we're probably going to hear a lot from next year.
I think so. Yeah, it's kind of like one of the guys in our farm system here. You know how we bring guys along. Tim's going to be a good one.
Tim Fedewa and crew going to roll the dice. They're hoping now that they've got enough caution laps, they can go the rest of the difference.
Well, we'll find out what's going to happen as we get set for more green flag racing action. You won't miss a thing. Stay with us back in Michigan after this. Just gone green flag racing here in Michigan as Tim Fedewa, the yellow car on the right of your screen, was our leader, but unfortunately, a half a dozen, make it 5 cars have gone by here in lap number 1, back to green flag racing.
Well, Jerry, with the fresh tires on those cars, all 4 of them that passed him, you know, it was inevitable they were going to get him right quick. In fact, 5 cars passed him on that first lap.
Jeff Gordon being shown as the leader in the Baby Ruth Ford Thunderbird. Dale Earnhardt's in second spot. The battle now looks to be back for third. The Interstate Battery Chevrolet of Dale Jarrett. And the Harry Melling-owned Budweiser machine, that's Bill Elliott. Yeah, that's Harry Melling owns that car. It's out of their stable in Dawsonville.
It is indeed. Dale Jarrett might have even lost himself back to 5th position from 4th there as Will Parsons chose to go with Bill Elliott in the draft. And Dale's been there without him in the draft with him.
Now we'll see if Elliott can make a move inside of Dale Earnhardt. Preview of what you're going to see tomorrow in Michigan for 400 miles. Elliott and Earnhardt battling in the banking here in turns 1 and 2. They're chasing the youngster, though, and he holds on to about a 3-car length separation. We're talking about Jeff Gordon in the Baby Ruth sponsored Ford.
Now Bill got a good run off of turn 2. Jarrett had him pass going into turn 1, but couldn't hold on. In fact, Jarrett dropped back a little bit there. He didn't get a good run. Here's Bill Elliott now taking the lead.
Elliott the leader. We'll see now possibly the youngster Jeff Gordon can ride the draft and make a move back around. And you heard Benny Parsons talking about some of these veterans teaching the youngsters here in their first trip to Michigan what it feels like in the draft at almost 190 miles an hour. They're getting some lessons now. Here's some drafting help back in the pack. The car number 20. And that's Jimmy Spencer.
We see Tommy Houston there running an Oldsmobile here. He's been running Buicks for years, but they're talking about going to Ford.
Understand Tommy may have a Ford as soon as Charlotte coming up in October. There's Jimmy Spencer.
And he'll run a Ford at Bristol in a couple of weeks in the Budweiser 500, a Moroso car.
Apparently he's going to run a Ford in the Winston Cup race there, sponsored by Food City at Bristol. So
that is correct.
Side-by-side racing.
As Jarrett moves down on the inside of Bill Parsons. He might make it stick that time. He does. He pulls up behind Dale Earnhardt, and here comes Todd Bodine trying to take the measure of Bill Parsons. As Bill's car looked like it pushed a little bit coming off of that turn, and indeed, Bodine just barely gets by.
And behind Phil Parsons' Purex car is the Mack Tools machine of Harry Gant, the Ed Whitaker Chevrolet. Fresh tires and that pit stop by virtue of the caution flag has been able to help a lot of these guys' chassis. We mentioned early on that we weren't sure how the inexperienced Busch Series drivers would handle the high banks, and Jeff Gordon has done an outstanding job in that Baby Ruth Ford Thunderbird.
He really has, Jerry. He dropped back in the pack there for a little while. Good pit work here, got him out up at the front again, and certainly giving Bill Elliott about all he wants right now.
Busch Grand National finish for Elliott, 4th. 2 different times. Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Hey, guys, you know, it looks to me like Jeff Gordon runs awfully well when the tires are fresh, but after about 5 laps, that's when the inexperience really shows up, and the guys, the Winston Cup drivers, start going right by him. This has been 2 or 3 laps since the caution flag, since they threw the green flag back. Let's watch about 5 laps and see if Jeff Gordon is able to stay up there. If he can, he just might win this baby.
Well, it looks like Benny went a little high in the turn that time. Elliott picked up a car length or so on this last time around. It might already be telling a little bit, but I'll tell you, fellas, on the go is Todd Bodine. Look at this red car coming down on the inside. Todd has run exceptionally well this year on all of the tracks, but Jarrett beats him into the turn. Now Phil Parsons pulls up there, tries to go by on the outside. Jarrett's car seems to be pushing up a little bit. They made an adjustment on his car, but it doesn't seem to be working as well as it did a little bit ago.
Here's Todd Bodine. The Frank Cece Scott Welliver machine on the inside.
Hey, look at this car number 25 of Shauna Robinson Pearson, doing a great job, Jerry, of staying up there with this lead pack.
She is the 5th female to compete in Busch Series competition, started 18th, currently being shown in 8th spot. Tremendous talent for Shauna Robinson at 27 years of age out of Des Moines, Iowa. Here are the front 2 cars, Elliott and Gordon, Airport Thunderbirds. We'll widen out and show you right behind them. Watch Phil Parsons in the car number 29.
He gets a run on Jarrett, pulls up on the outside. And here comes Todd Bodine as well. Boy, Jarrett's car just not working nearly as well as it did a little bit earlier. And here's trouble.
Trouble up in 3 and 4. You're right, Ned. A couple of cars, heavy impact in the outside retaining wall. Looks like Tim Fedewa, the car on the right of your screen. That's the yellow and red number one, car number 55. And the other one appears to be the 27 car of Ward Burton, the A.G. Dillard-owned machine. Heavy impact there. Both the front and rear of the Ward Burton machine has been shortened considerably. Safety crew is on the scene there to the right of your screen. And Tim Fedewa, the 25-year-old Holt, Michigan driver. Now, he had planned to race tonight. I am told they had a helicopter standing by. If you look at what's left of the Gwaltney-sponsored Chevrolet. Ward Burton. Safety crew is now getting across the track. Finishing up on Fedewa. He had planned to race tonight, Ned. I'm told they were going to fly him to run a race, an ASA event.
See, we were showing Dale Jarrett and them side by side, and here we see the cars were already spinning up against the outside wall. The yellow car is Fedewa, and the 27 red car is Ward Burton. And watch this car coming here, Jerry, as Fedewa goes down off of the racetrack, and there goes the car, a white car, right? And that was the Dave Resendez in car number 79 that went right between them.
Well, someone threaded the needle, and thankfully Ward Burton climbs out. He is okay. Cannot be a happy camper right now, but he was being shown in 7th spot in the points. Pit stops now, the order of the day. Here is Dale Jarrett, Harry Gant, Hud Strickland, and Michael Waltrip, as the car number 11 of Phil Elliott will stay on the racetrack. And Dale Jarrett will go to the pits to get some service from John Irvin. Likewise, Chris Carrier and the Harry Gant crew going to work there from the Ed Whitaker car. 18 on top of your screen, that's Dale Jarrett. You see now John Irvin once again just sauntering around the back of the car, having made a chassis adjustment. Right side tires for both those cars, and they will scamper down pit road, but Gant will have the advantage by pitting in front of Dale Jarrett.
No, none of these drivers that made these pit stops were happy with the way their cars were working. Darrell Waltrip also made a pit stop, and they decided to better come in and make some adjustments, get on some new tires.
And the good report, as you see Tim Fedewa now walking away. You saw Ward Burton getting out a moment ago. All the drivers are okay, so those safety restraints have held and done their work. We're under caution for the 4th time today. Back with more Busch Series action after this. Michigan under caution for the 4th time today. Incident up in turns 3 and 4. Ward Burton and Tim Fedewa both okay. Work continuing there on Ward Burton's car, the Gwaltney-sponsored Chevrolet. A lot of action yet to come your way this afternoon on ESPN. The Firestone Indy Light coverage coming up at 3 p.m. The Thriftway ATP Tennis at 3:30. Induction ceremonies for the Motorsports Hall of Fame at 5:30 p.m. From horsepower to hoof power, Budweiser racing across America at 6 p.m. and Sports Center. All the scores and highlights from around the world at 7 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time. And of course, we have seen those cars hit pretty hard up in the corners, but the drivers walk away due to the NASCAR safety features. And with safety features, so here's more with one of our track facts. Track facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil.
Used to, when all these cars made pit stops, as they left, you could see the fuel just run out of the back of the car. But it's different anymore. You don't see the fuel come out. You wonder why? Because they put a little flapper in the vent. The vent is 1 inch. That's how much fuel used to come out of the back of the car. They put a little flapper in there to try to keep that fuel in the gas tank, because we've seen many races decided by fuel mileage. So how do they get the flapper open to get some air so the gas will go in? This is a catch can. The little probe goes in and opens the flapper so that the air will come out and the gasoline will fill up the gas tank. So this fella Bruce Sanders goes to the back of the car, sticks the probe up in there, opens the flapper, so the thing will work. Yeah, and they call him extra fat. If he's extra fat, that must be mega fat. Man.
Well, certainly, and working on the Mac Tools crew. And that is a safety feature, Ned, to try to minimize the spillage of fuel on pit road. We talked about these track backs to show you how safe the sport really is as far as NASCAR's requirements. Take a look at our top 20 here. After 66 laps, Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Earnhardt, Parsons, and Bodine. The top 5, 6 through 10, Shauna Robinson, Jimmy Spencer, Ken Schrader, Joe Nemechek, and Tommy Houston. The top 20 after 66 of 100 laps. Back with more Busch Series action after this. And we're back at Michigan International Speedway, where tomorrow, of course, you'll be able to see at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live flag-to-flag coverage of the Champion Spark Plug 400. Alan Kawicki picks up pole number 3 of the year. Now he's only 1 pole behind Sterling Marlin, who has 4 poles. Of course, Kawicki 2 wins this year, coming at Bristol, Tennessee, and Pocono, both on ESPN. And Ned, should be a heck of a shootout tomorrow. Kawicki and Martin on the front row.
And just a thousandth of a second separated their qualifying time. And also exciting was the fact that Dale Earnhardt will be starting dead last in the field.
He is being shown back in 43rd position.
And he requalified today. He didn't make the top 20 yesterday, requalified today, but in the post-qualifying inspection, the car was found to be a little bit too low, so that time was disallowed, so he had to take a provisional spot, go to the rear of the pack.
Well, it's not as if racing in Michigan isn't already exciting enough. We get to see Dale Earnhardt come from 43rd starting spot and try to get to the front in a hurry. Yes, 6 of the top 8 qualifiers were Fords. In fact, 7 of the top 10 were Fords. Kawicki, Martin, Davey Allison, Ken Schrader, Ernie Irvin, the only 2 Chevrolets in the top 5. Morgan Shepherd, Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, Darrell Waltrip, and Brett Bodine rounding out the top 10 in qualifying. That's tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. live flag-to-flag coverage of the Champion Spark Plug 400.
Jerry, as we get ready to go back to green here, we saw the top 20 as we went to the break there a moment ago. There are 2 other cars that are in the lead lap. Michael Waltrip is 21st and Darrell Waltrip is 22nd, so 22 cars still in the lead lap.
Bill Elliott will have the Budweiser colors at the point as they get set for green flag racing. A pair of Thunderbirds. Green flag is waving.
And here they go for rear breast down into turn 1 once again. That Todd Bodine in the red car. He and Elliott both driving red cars, but Bodine just made a great move and has taken over the lead. But here comes Phil Parsons. He wants the lead.
What a day Phil Parsons is having at Michigan. Remember, he and older brother, much older brother, Benny Parsons, are from this area to begin with. And, of course, Phil Parsons having the best race in Busch Series competition that he's had in a long, long time.
He has won Busch Grand National victory. That was at Bristol, Tennessee, many years ago. And here's Jimmy Spencer, way down on the inside in the first stage sports string, car number 20, the Moroso entry.
Remember, Benny Parsons showed you some blistered tires coming off that Spencer car. That's the Daly's first aid machine. Dick Moroso on cars, you heard Ned Jarrett say. Well, he is right on the rear bumper, just inhaling that Goodrich Chevrolet of Earnhardt. No room on the bottom of the track because Elliott is there.
And Jeff Gordon shuffled back as well as Elliott on that restart. Boy, they really lost a lot of time, Elliott and Jeff Gordon.
Todd Bodine, the leader. Phil Parsons in second, then Earnhardt, then Spencer. Now the battle looks to be between a couple of Fords, as you see Bodine as a leader. Elliott in the 11 car, and the 1 car, Jeff Gordon.
And the blue car, Shauna Robinson.
A lot of good mix here of experience, a lot of young drivers, a lot of experienced chauffeurs. Now Phil Parsons apparently gets called down on the track, cost him a couple of spots.
With Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon running side by side, that is going to allow somebody else to catch up or even allow that front pack to get away if they aren't careful.
Got to give a call to Shauna Robinson in the car number 25. That's the Polaroid high-definition Oakland of the blue car. You see the top of your screen with the white number 25 on the side. Only her 6th start in 1992. Her 12th Busch Grand National start overall, and she is showing right now in 7th spot. That's shown on the car number 25. Her best finish was her first start this year at Volusia County Speedway. Coming up on the half mile in Daytona Beach, Florida, or Barberville, Florida on July 4th.
The sponsorship from Polaroid.
That's the Don Beverly on Oldsmobile, crewed by Bobby King and the crew. Holmes and Eames engines.
Well, how's Harry Gant and those guys that made pit stops doing? Well, here comes Gant moving on the inside of Tommy Houston. We see Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett back there. They came out of the pits running 18th and 19th, but now Gant has moved up to 10th already.
Back up front, battle now for second spot. That is Jimmy Spencer. The Nick Moroso on Oldsmobile trying to make a move, but he's out of the draft, doesn't have a partner. At speeds of over 180 miles an hour. That is Earnhardt and Phil Parsons with Jeff Gordon behind him as they head for turn 3.
Well, Spencer caught down on the inside with no drafting partner. And I'll tell you, with these V6s, Jerry, you got to keep those RPMs up, and that's what that second groove will allow you to do. And it's tough down on the inside to pass. And here's Battle back in the pack as Dale Jarrett makes it 3 wide coming into the turn. They were 4 abreast there for just a moment, and now Jarrett tries to take the measure of Michael Waltrip going into the turn, and looks like he gets him as Michael Waltrip, Hud Strickland, and Dale Jarrett all trying to come back up through the pack after making pit stops during that caution.
This track, 100 feet in width, and that's what's so conducive to this 3 and 4 wide racing in Winston Comfort Busch Series competition. There's Tommy Houston in the car number 6, Ricky Craven, leading Rookie of the Year contender in Busch Series competition, last year's Busch North champion.
Tommy Houston in the Rosen Store Oldsmobile, car number 6, and there's Chuck Bound, former Busch Grand National champion. Chuck's had a tough year this year. He has run well in the ST Pontiac, but he's just had a lot of tough luck.
That's an Oldsmobile Chevrolet and Pontiac back there.
And Jerry, now we only have 21 cars in the lead lap as Darrell Waltrip has taken the Western Auto Chevrolet to the garage area.
And back up front, you see this battle for second spot. Phil Parsons just can't quite get the measure of Earnhardt, and now down on the bottom of the track, he may not be able to have the momentum here. Yes, he's coming back strong. Out of turn 4, they nearly touch. Phil Parsons, the Purex detergent Oldsmobile, but it's Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, and Parsons needs a little bit of drafting help.
Yes, he does, Jerry. It's tough down there without a helper. And while they were running side by side, look how far Todd Bodine was able to pull out front. But Earnhardt knows what groove he needs to stay in, and he's staying right there in that groove. But Jeff Gordon really putting the pressure on him. Jimmy Spencer now moves into 4th. Parsons falls back to 5th, but Bill Elliott now trying to move on the inside of him as Elliott had the momentum coming off the turn.
Elliott reaches by on the inside and will take the spot away.
Now here comes Jeff Gordon down on the inside of Dale Earnhardt. The Ford, ooh, they touch a little bit coming off the turn. They touch again.
Earnhardt was not about to give the position away. He said, young man, you need to learn a little more about the speedways before you're going to pull up in front of me. Because he hadn't quite cleared him, and Earnhardt said, well, I can let him go or I can tap him and give him a little bit of a wide-eyed grip there.
That's part of the lesson that Benny Parsons was talking about at the top of the show. And Jeff didn't want to mess up there, and he decided just to back off a little bit and let Earnhardt have the position back.
Now, a couple of years ago, it might have been a different outcome with Gordon having a little more experience, but Earnhardt able to hold the position. Jimmy Spencer, the car number 20. The 11 is Bill Elliott. Then comes Phil Parsons. 4th, 5th, and 6th.
6 cars in this lead draft. And it's a couple of seconds back to Ken Schrader, who is running in 7th place, and Harry Gant in 8th. And here is Hud Strickland making a move down on the inside of Shauna Robinson and the car number 87 of Nemechek. The Texas Pete car, number 87. So Hud Strickland on the move again. There's Harry Gant and Kenny Schrader.
They are 8th and 9th place. The AC Delco Chevrolet of Kenny Schrader, the Timmy Kohut prepared car, and Gant slipping up a little bit in the Mac Tools machine.
It should be for 7th and 8th. There are 6 cars in the lead pack, and then goes back a ways to this big pack of cars.
This pack, the last 3 cars, Shona Robinson, Dale Jarrett, and Michael Waltrip. And at the top of the pack, on the front of the pack, there's Kenny Schrader. Where are the leaders? Well, we'll pan around and show you exactly. There's the battle for second spot as Jeff Gordon will try it once again in the backstretch.
He got a good run coming off of that turn. That Ford is strong down the straightaway, but look at Earnhardt trying to come back. Now let's see who out drives each other going into the turn. Who drives in the deepest? Gordon went right on there with him that time. Earnhardt might have driven a little bit faster, but Jeff's car broke loose just a little bit, but it was a good effort that didn't pay off.
And Todd Bodine has to be loving this. Todd Bodine is the leader as they battle door to door in the backstretch. Watch Jimmy Spencer, should say in turn one, as Spencer now will go beneath Jeff Gordon and take the spot away. So Spencer will take third, Jeff Gordon is fourth, and Elliott is fifth. That is second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth right there. But the leader, the fellow they're chasing, is the Hungry Jack Chevrolet of Todd Bodine as laps are winding down at Michigan. Back with more after this. Ambulance pulling up there in turns 3 and 4. We've have had a collision. You see what's left of the Daly's First Aid Oldsmobile of Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy Spencer has walked out of the car, walked down to the grass, and just climbed in the ambulance. It's required by NASCAR, and it's a good requirement that if a driver does come into contact with a wall, he must take a ride to the infield care center to be checked out. And that's Jimmy Spencer, two-time winner this year, won at Myrtle Beach and in Orange County just a week ago, driving for Dick Moroso. They were battling down the backstretch. Let's take a look, see if we can see exactly what may have happened just moments ago.
Spencer in the car number 20 on the inside of Dale Earnhardt. The car gets a little bit loose with him, Jerry. The back end goes around. Earnhardt goes on by, but he collects Jeff Gordon as Gordon tries to go by on the outside. Spencer slams the outside wall, and Gordon also, you can see the damage to his Baby Ruth Ford. Quite a bit of damage. Benny Parsons, are they going to be able to get him repaired?
I don't know, Ned. They changed the right side. They tried to beat the spoiler up where you'll at least have some spoiler. Now Bill Davis is trying to get the quarter panel jerked out a little bit. Had changed 4 tires on the car. There's some damage to the rear. We see the rear of the car down. That's going to keep the spoiler down out of the airstream. That's certainly going to hurt the car's handling characteristics in the corner.
Yeah, I would think so. Most of the sheet metal damage seems to be to the left side as Spencer went up and hit him. And you can see a little bit of damage there as he clipped the outside wall as well when he was knocked up in there. But you see the damage to the rear of the car that Benny was talking about too. And yeah, that'll affect the handling qualities of it. We'll take another look at it.
Once again, the car number 20 of Jimmy Spencer getting a run on Dale Earnhardt on the inside of turn 3. Spencer's car just begins to slip and slide. The rear end goes around, and Gordon does a masterful job to try to get above him. And Spencer tags the wall with the front end and then with the rear end. Once again, a different angle.
There they are, side by side, Earnhardt and Spencer. Spencer's car getting loose. All of a sudden, the back end goes around, and here comes Gordon. Spencer clips Gordon, knocks Gordon up into the wall just briefly, and Spencer slams hard into the wall. A little bit of fire there, but it goes out pretty quickly.
Let's check into the Benny Parsons, who's in the Jeff Gordon pit. Benny?
You know, Jerry, we talk about flat spotting tires and causing vibrations and what have you. Here's what we're talking about when we say flat spotted tire. When you spin these cars at 180 miles per hour and slam on the brakes and this tire stops as it slides across the pavement, it just simply wears through the tire into the air. You see there's nothing there except the inner liner that's in there. And fortunately that's there because that enables them to drive the car back to the pits without too much damage. But this is a flat spotted tire, folks.
And it almost looks like the soles of your shoes, Benny. I've seen those shoes after you've had a couple of shots at running to the buffet in the afternoon. So, but you don't wear radials, do you?
No, I'm on bias ply, as a matter of fact. And hey, he's back in. Let's see what they're doing this time. They put some tape on the rear of the deck lid to keep the air from going in the deck lid, blowing it off. They got black tape, they got white tape, and they got red tape. I don't know exactly why they got all that. They're also bending the spoiler up more, trying to get the spoiler up in the airstream. Once again, we can see how the rear of the car is bent down probably 5 or 6 inches, and that gets the rear spoiler down to the point that it's not very effective. Bill Davis put more and more tape on there, trying to keep the deck lid on. Okay, guys, he's gone. I'm done.
That's Bill Davis, Elton Sawyer. You see the back end of that one bent. The front of this one has been pretty much wiped out. Unfortunately, Jimmy Spencer is okay. Caution flag for the 5th time today. Back with more green flag action after this. Won't miss a thing. The Pontiac safety car pulls away, and we're set for more green flag racing action. It'll be 84 laps, 85 this time as they work lap 86 here in Michigan.
The car number 7 of Harry Gant pulled down on the inside of Phil Parsons. Phil got off to a little bit of a slow start there. There goes Hudson Strickland and Dale Jarrett going by. Gant now has moved up to 4th, up to 5th, and Jarrett to 6th. The Oldsmobile drops back to 7th place. Boy, he's had a great run today in this year Oldsmobile.
Outstanding effort. Remember, back in August a year ago, we saw one of your relatives, Ned, Dale Jarrett, keep us excited all afternoon, and now it's one of Benny's relatives, his younger brother, Phil, has brought some excitement. How about Hud Strickland right now, making a move inside of Harry again?
Drove right down on the inside of Harry and took the position. Here comes Jarrett. He's got to run off turn 4. He wants to pass 2, but no, he says he don't have the momentum. I'll stay behind him till we get to the turn and see what happens then.
14 laps remain here in this 200-mile event. 100 laps, the inaugural Busch Series event at Gene Hasket's beautiful Michigan International Speedway. Here's Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, and our current Busch Series point leader, Joe Nemechek.
And boy, just about everybody that's been in that point race except Nemechek has had problems here this afternoon. So if he can finish where he's running, Jerry, he's going to pick up a lot of points.
That's 7th, 8th, and 9th position, Joe Nemechek. Right behind him is Shona Robinson. Don Beverly Polaroid-sponsored Oldsmobile.
We go to New Hampshire next week, then to Bristol, Tennessee the following week.
We might mention that talking about Bristol, some of these cars have been to Bristol to test, and they were talking about what a great facility it is now. Larry Carrier has put concrete down up there, and Butch Miller told me that you're going to see racing like you've never seen it before. 2 and 3 abreast on the high banks of Bristol. That's coming up in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait.
Oh, no, it'd be night racing on that half-a-mile track, I'll tell you.
And the Food City 250, that's the Busch Series race on Friday night, so that should be, I don't think it can get any more exciting when you have it at Bristol there on the high banks, but according to the Busch drivers, it's going to be a dandy.
Here they're beginning to mix up. Laps are running down. Hud Strickland knows it's time to go. His car is running strong after he made that last pit stop. He was way back in the back, but ooh, he got loose, but he managed to hold on to it. Bill Elliott gave him the room he needed. Here's Harry Gant trying to move down on the inside of Bill Elliott.
Hud Strickland driving for Mac Martin, the Stanley Tool sponsored car. Car 92.
Now here's Dale Jarrett. He don't know whether to follow Gant or Elliott. He decides to follow Elliott. We'll see if that's going to be the smart move. Door might close on him up there. No, Gant pulls back on the inside of Bill Elliott. And the Hud Strickland way down on the inside of the racetrack. Now he gets back up in the groove. I thought he'd slow down there for a moment, but he's just getting himself positioned to go in that turn.
Nice 3-car battle here. Harry Gant in car number 7. The 18 is Dale Jarrett. They're able to slide by. Jarrett riding the draft from the Harry Melling on Ford Thunderbird. Takes over car for Elliott.
Takes over 5th. Elliott is in 4th. Jarrett 5th. And now Gant back to 6th. Elliott now moves back up on Hud Strickland.
As the laps are winding down, we'll take one quick break and come back with the finish here. This exciting Detroit Gasket 200 from Michigan International Speedway. Todd Bodine leads with 10 laps to go. Back at Michigan International Speedway, laps are winding down. Now it'll be 7 to go. This time by is Todd Bodine in the Hungry Jack sponsored Chevrolet. Frank Cece, Scott Welliver on machine, trying to hold off the challenge of the Winston Cup veterans behind him. Dale Earnhardt, Hud Strickland in the car number 92. Then comes Elliott. Then comes Jarrett.
And then Gant. So we wondered if the Busch drivers could hold their own on this track. First time ever running here. Well, Todd Bodine's holding up their end of it very well at this point. But he's got to be wondering, what's Earnhardt up to? Does he have a plan back there? Will he be able to draft past? Is he going to wait till the last lap? What is the situation? A lot of things got to be going through Todd Bodine's mind.
He's got a rear-view mirror full of that Goodrich Chevrolet. Yep. Tries to sneak a peek to the inside of Dale Jarrett. Thinks better of it. Stays back in line. Now we'll see if Hud Strickland can make a move.
He tried, but that didn't work either.
6 laps to go next time by.
7 cars in the lead draft.
This is the first time Todd Bodine has had this Chevrolet Lumina on a super speedway. It's a car they built for Brent to drive on the road course back in June in the Phase 150. So I'm sure he's going to be loving this race car. Probably you'll see it once or twice again before this year's out. There's Earnhardt.
See how far it is back to the next group, those 7 cars, and then in 8th place is Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil Pontiac number 30, and then Ken Schrader, Joe Nemechek, and Shona Robinson still hanging in there at that time.
She's currently 11th. That would equal her best finish of the year coming at Volusia County Speedway back on July 4th on the short track. Certainly an impressive run for Shona Robinson. Shona Robinson Pearson, as you said, she's married to Eddie Pearson, one of the youngest of the Pearson brothers.
But I now has opened himself up a little bit of a lead as we watch that pack. We watch Shona Robinson hanging on to the draft. Hud Strickland trying to make a move on Dale Earnhardt, but that's just working to Todd Bodine's favor as those guys race that's up front. Of course, what we're seeing here is Michael Waltrip and Kenny Schrader. You can see how far it is to that next pack of cars, but you see the lead that Todd Bodine has built up here now? With just 5 laps to go, nothing happens to that Hungry Jack Chevrolet, Jerry. He's got this thing.
Well, the rumors are that Todd Bodine may make a move to Winston Cup next year. Take his whole crew with him, and if way this crew's performed, it would be a good move for him. Clyde McLeod and the rest of the Frank Cece, Scott Welliver on team. That's Bodine left of your screen. He's the leader.
Well, we saw him last week in his Winston Cup debut at Watkins Bend in the Budweiser at the Glen race, Jerry, and took a couple of off-track excursions up there, doing much better here today.
Only his second full year on the tour. 4 laps to go. Picked up a pole back in May at Dover, Delaware. Got a win at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. His first career win came last year at Dover, so he has 2 wins. There's his 1 win this season coming up at Nazareth.
What's going to happen? Strickland and Earnhardt are going to get the racing back up to second place, and Todd will just be able to pull completely away. Of Dale Jarrett. Dale's car is pushing, coming off the turns pretty badly. And again, got a good run on it. Move around. Here's Hunt now, just making that move that we predicted down on the inside of Dale Earnhardt. And that's going to work to Todd Bodine's advantage as they race side by side. That's going to let him pull away a little bit more.
Down the back straightaway, 2,242 feet. Headed to the turn 3. See Bill Elliott sitting back there watching and waiting. I'm not sure he wants to get too close to what's happening in front of him. There's Elliott, right side of your picture.
He's keeping a close watch, staying back far enough that he can dodge anything that might have happened, but hasn't made a good clean pass. And has taken over second position now. But does he have enough time to catch Todd Bodine? Does he have enough car to catch him?
2 laps to go. And Hud Strickland is coming. He is pulled by 4 car lengths in front of Dale Earnhardt. And he has cut the margin in half on Todd Bodine. It's a white flag this time for Todd Bodine.
Well, I think Hud's going to get himself in position to make a run for it, Jerry. He's closing closer and closer as they come to the start-finish line for the white flag.
White flag for Todd Bodine. He's trying to hold off the 31-year-old Calera, Alabama driver, Hud Strickland. Hud has run 6 Busch Series events in 1992. His best finish of 3rd in Atlanta, and now he's at a car length and a half in turn 2.
Boy, he went in awfully hard and picked that up, but it hurt him coming off the turn, Jerry. He's going to have to pick the draft up going down the backstretch here, but I just don't believe he'll be able to do it. We'll see.
Less than a mile to go. And Todd Bodine, if he can hold on now for half a mile, make it a quarter mile out of turn 4 off the 18-degree banks. And Todd Bodine will pick up win number 2 on the 1992 season. Hud Strickland finishes second, and Dale Earnhardt is third. Here's a battle of the line. Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader. It'll be Michael Waltrip, Schrader, then Nemechek. That is 8th, 9th, and 10th. And behind him in 11th spot, Shona Robinson. Her best ever Speedway finish.
Red Farmer finished in 12th place in the Davey Allison car.
And rightfully so, they are celebrating down there. Scott Welliver, Clyde McLeod, the crew chief, and Frank Cece down in the Hungry Jack pit.
Jerry, we're talking about those drivers that were up there in the point standings that were having trouble here today. Todd Bodine came into this race 3rd in the point standings, and he won the race, so that's going to move him ever so closer to Joe Nemechek.
And he was only 25 points behind Robert Presley, so he'll probably be able to pass Presley and take the 2nd spot away. Todd Bodine heads the Hungry Jack Chevrolet to victory lane. We'll be back to talk with him after this. Don't go away. Let's go down to victory lane as Todd Bodine climbs out and waves at this crowd. He's with John Kernan.
Todd, that was a heck of a move you made on that restart. Pulling a little bit lower gear than everybody else. That way able to take the lead then.
Yeah, that's what happened. It hurt us in the running of the deal. We didn't have enough gear or low enough gear to stay in the draft. But once I got in front, I could run my line. I could keep it running, and it was really good. You know, I'd like to dedicate this to Clifford Ellison. Good friend for all of us.
Todd, back on the race on the track, the last few laps, you had Hutt filling up your mirror. You also had Earnhardt in there, but you just kept driving your line. Did your crew, your spotter, your big brother Jeff, keep reminding you of that?
Yeah, Jeff kept telling me, you know, that's a good corner. That was a bad one. Try to do that one again. You know, Earnhardt and Hutt were back there. I was praying they'd get racing each other, and that's what they did a little bit, and it just gave me enough breathing room. Then when Hutt got by him, I knew Hutt was fast, and I'm glad there was only 2 laps left.
That's Todd Bodine, the winner, and I would dare say this is probably the biggest win. Oh, wait a minute, you got something else?
I got to say hello to everybody in Hungry Jack from Minneapolis. iBox Springs, they're here, their first race with us. All our sponsors, it's just great to be here.
That's Todd Bodine, the winner, Jay.
And he gets a big hug and a kiss from down in victory lane. Todd Bodine and Ned, the score stands after 11 Speedway events. The Busch regulars 8, and the Winston Cup guys just 3.
As I said, they're there.
Outstanding effort for that young man, 28 years of age. We'll be back with more from Michigan International Speedway. Impossible to get a chance to talk with a young man, Phil Parsons, who had an outstanding effort here today. Back at Michigan after this. Breaks. Back in the Irish Hills of Brooklyn, Michigan, Michigan International Speedway serving as host today for the inaugural NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Detroit Gasket 200. Todd Bodine has gone to victory lane for the second time in 1992. Our Speedway coverage brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. And by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. Take a look at our finishing order. Todd Bodine, Hutt Strickland, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, and Harry Gant in the top 5.
And 6th through 10th, Dale Jarrett, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, and Joe Nemechek. And Jerry in the 11th was Shauna Robinson. And I said Red Farmer was in 12th in that car 28. It was Jeff Purvis driving that car today. Ricky Craven in 13th, Dave Resendez 14th, and Chuck Bowen 15th.
Certainly jumbling the point standings. Houston, Peck, Steve Grissom, Jeff Gordon, our pole sitter, gets a 19th place finish after being involved in that incident over in turn 3 and 4 with Jimmy Spencer.
So there were 19 cars in the lead lap. Richard Lassiter finishes 20th, 1 lap down.
Jeff Green, Tracy Leslie, Bobby Labonte, who will lose some points, Butch Miller, and Jimmy Spencer, who had a great run. Mr. Excitement gets a 25th place finish.
Darrell Waltrip, who pulled into the garage, 26th. Tim Fedewa, Ward Burton, Lonnie Rush Jr., who had a crash, and so did Ward Burton, and Robert Prespa had an engine problem.
And 31st through 34th, Ernie Irvin, Kenny Wallace, Morgan Shepherd, and Jeff Burton finishes 34th on the field. Talked about an impressive run today for this young lady. She's standing by with John Kernan.
Jerry, of course, you're talking about Shauna Robinson. Shauna, an 11th place finish here today. For a while there, I mean, you had a chance. You were running in that top 5 pack.
Yeah, when I got up there, you know, the car felt real good. The team did an excellent job with my stops, and, you know, I felt like I could hold it up there. And, you know, there's good cars all around me, so I can't complain about where I finished at. And I wish I could have been in the 10, but with the Polaroid high-definition car and Bobby King as my crew chief and the team that I have, experience is what I need, and that's definitely what I got today.
We didn't get to touch on this very much, but a little bit about the deal. How many more races do you have in this car?
Well, you know, we'd like to run a full season, or the rest of the year this year, and then a full season next year. But right now we're definitely going to New Hampshire next week, Darlington, Charlotte, Rockingham, Richmond, and Martinsville. So the more we can run, the better I'll get.
Yeah, that's Shauna Robinson with an 11th place finish. And guys, let's move on over here. Joe Nemechek, the Busch Grand National points leader, standing around having a nice cool drink. And Joe, top 5 guys had a problem today except for you, so you've extended your points leader. You should have. Todd Bodine would have caught up a little bit with you.
Yeah, he should have moved up in a second. Texas Pete Chevrolet, Lazito's Pharmacy. Just the car ran real good. We made a gamble here before the race this morning, and we gambled on gear, gambled on setup. The setup worked right, but the gear was off, and I could beat them up out of the corner, but we run out of motor, and got behind Kenny. You know, I learned a lot of drafting lessons with Kenny today, but if I could ever got by Kenny, I think we could have went on. But that's all part of racing. You know, Shauna did an excellent job. I thought she was going to pass me there at the end. She had a good car, a good motor, but we're happy. First time here at Michigan, and we'll be ready to come back next time.
You mentioned the first time here at Michigan, a lot to be learned from the guys who have a lot of experience here. Was the drafting here, was that the most important lesson you learned today?
Well, drafting is very important, but the main thing is getting your car where it'll run. You can really drive it down in the corner and then pick the gas right back up. A lot of the guys were having to let off in the corners, and they couldn't pick the gas up early enough, and I could drive up under them, but then they had a little bit more motor, or the gearing was a little bit different. They beat me off.
That's Joe Nemechek, the Busch Grand National points leader, and now we're going to turn around, bring it over here where I found a couple of brothers, Benny Parson and Phil Parsons.
And guess what?
What?
That camera died. Did the camera die, Brad? Oh, the camera's... You broke the camera.
Well, that's not the only thing I broke today.
What'd you break?
Well, the clutch is out of the thing or whatever, and I missed a gear in that restart. It just killed me. Man, the car was so good. But I guess it clouded up. We got a little tight at the end, so, you know, I was still hoping for a good top 3 or 4 finish, and then I missed a gear in that restart where I had no clutch. So, I want to thank Pure X Detergent to come along, Meyer 50 Acres to sponsor me up here, or we wouldn't be here. And all my crew, Doug Taylor, Mike Powell, Kenny, all the guys, they did a heck of a job. We don't run much, but we try to be right when we run.
Hey, by the way, I didn't introduce him to you, folks. Now, hang on. How about, does this look like a resemblance? This is my little bitty brother.
Not even close. Not even close.
What are you shaking your head about?
Well, by the way, while we're doing this, I owed him one. Him and Rob.
For what? What?
Well, I did a TV race last year, and Brad was the cameraman, and they got me with a cooler after the race, so I owed him one.
Hey, Brad.
I've been waiting to get him back, and I got him.
Brad, this is bad. Let's go upstairs.
Ah, what an outstanding effort for Phil Parsons. Taking a look at the point standings now. They are shuffled somewhat. Joe Nemechek remains atop the points. Todd Bodine will slide into the second spot. Robert Presley third. Bobby Labonte and Kenny Wallace in fourth and fifth spot. 6 through 10. Jeff Gordon, Ward Burton, Steve Grissom, Butch Miller, and Tracy Leslie in 10th spot. We'll be back with some more excitement and fun from Michigan. Michigan, the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series event is history. Todd Bodine, we should say, has won the event. Let's check in once again with Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I'm done. I'll introduce my guest this time. It's Morgan Shepard, driver of the Citgo Ford. You were in the race today, went up, started the front, got to the front almost, and what happened?
Well, our Citgo Thunderbird started missing coming off the corner, Benny, and we're not running points or anything, so we just pulled it in. I don't know what happened to it. It just started skipping coming off turn 2.
You know, tomorrow you're driving that Citgo Ford that won the last Champion Spark Plug 400. Can you repeat?
Well, you know, I believe the guy's putting pressure on me here winning this race.
Who is? Not me. I wouldn't do anything like that, but the car won the race. Remember that? You remember that, son?
Hey, I remember that. I was running good here, and we had spark plug problems. But anyway, the 21 Citgo Thunderbird is running real good, Benny, and I feel like we got a good shot at it. Our Busch car, we kind of used both of them as a baseline on the chassis, and it was working good what little bit of time I got to run. So I feel like we're going to run good tomorrow. We'll just have to see.
How about tomorrow? Who's going to be the most serious contenders tomorrow for the checkered flag?
Hey, I tell you what, there's at least 10 cars out there. You know, it wasn't quite that many in the Busch, but in the Winston Cup, there's going to be 10 cars that's going to be in a string.
You mean the race tomorrow is going to be better than today's race?
The race tomorrow is going to be better than today. It's just, they're so close. They're so fine-tuned.
I don't believe it, guys, but we'll see tomorrow.
Exactly, Benny Parsons. Tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll see live flag-to-flag coverage of the Champion Spark Plug 400. One of the most exciting finishes we've had in recent Winston Cup history. Happened a year ago tomorrow. Stay tuned for our flag-to-flag coverage with Bob Jenkins and all the Speed World crew. Coming up, Driftway ATP Challenge Tennis from Mason, Ohio. Today and tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then from horsepower to hook power, Budweiser racing across America, the Alabama Stakes from Saratoga Springs at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, the crew celebrating on pit road, and rightfully so. as young 28 years of age, Chemung, New York native Todd Bodine has taken his Hungry Jack Chevrolet to victory lane in the inaugural Busch Grand National Series event, the Detroit Gasket 200 at Michigan International Speedway. For John Kernan and Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett, I'm Jerry Punt saying congratulations to Todd Bodine and so long from Michigan.